What movie hit you the hardest emotionally speaking? Life is Beautiful. The kid's dad gets him to believe the concentration camp is just a game and everyone is in on it. Like it's a special adventure to protect him from the horrors they faced. We watched that movie in 8th grade when we had nothing to do in math at the end of the year. You ran out of math. They started with 10 math, then they minus 10 math. You do the math. The ending of Coco had my wife bawling like crazy because her grandmother has Alzheimer's. I teared up when the flashback shows Hector singing Remember Me to toddler Coco and she's reaching up to his face singing with Hi Monsieur, but absolutely sobbed when Miguel then sang it to her. The correlation back to Hector, the breaks in his voice, the animation of her face, how it goes from the confused, stuck in mud kind of face to clearing up and her eyes brightening and being herself for even a moment, and then her asking her daughter what's wrong and her crying and saying nothing mama. Fuck, I ugly cry through that. That was absolutely beautiful. The Fox and the Hound. When Widow Tweed leaves Todd in the forest to keep him from getting shot by Slade. Goodbye may seem forever. Farewell is like the end. But in my heart's the memory. And there you'll always be. Gets me every time. No joke. Forrest Gump. The scene where he finds out he has a kid and asks if it's like Hi Monsieur that hit me like a ton of bricks. Probably because of my own insecurities. Oh, and also Bubba's death, so sad. Fat F. Edit. Wow, didn't realize people related to the scene just as much as I did. Oh god, the kid scene and him admitting he knows he isn't smart. Though he is smart. Also, but I miss you, Jenny. When I watched Bridge to Terabithia I thought this is not so bad. What is everyone talking about? Pretty wholesome overall, and then it happened and I cried like a baby. I watched it on a plane. My jaw dropped at that point. Had no knowledge about it, so had no inkling that was coming. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind has never not hit me hard. I only saw it once, and never again. I watched a test screening before it came out. My GF of 4 years broke up with me a few days before. What Dreams May Come leaves me a sobbing mess through the whole movie. Edit. Wow, I've never had this kind of response to one of my comments before. Thanks for the silver, friends. Also, I never got the impression this movie resonated with many people. So I'm thrilled to know that we've all sobbed hysterically with snot running down our nose and barely able to breathe together. The Pianist. After I finished the movie, it just dawned on me that this could really happen to anyone. We take our periods of peace for granted, as one day we might be put in a similar situation where we lose everything. And that really fucked with me hard. The scene where he plays the piano, but actually not playing, just air fingering the keys, made me so sad. Castaway. You're the love of my life. Helen Hunt was on screen for what felt like only about 30 minutes in the movie, but her portrayal of a woman who lost someone so important but somehow learned to love again, then to lose them again, was a gut punch. I loved everything about Tom Hanks's acting in this movie, but it was Helen Hunt who made it truly memorable for me. Man, that movie fucked me up. His sole purpose of surviving and hope was to be back with her. Finds out she remarried and was able to let her go after all that he went through. I'm so sad that I don't have Kelly, but I'm so grateful that she was with me on that island. And I know what I have to do now. I gotta keep breathing, because tomorrow the sun will rise. Who knows what the tide could bring. Quote. I like the little hint of a new love at the end. How everything went full circle back to the first shot of the ex-husband with the package. Maybe he ends up with the artist lady. Who knows? But the little promise of hope was a great ending. I just wanted him to turn around and go back to that artist's house and ask if she wants to go out for some garlic bread and iced tea. Grave of the Fireflies. I watched it with my friend back in the early 90s. My sister happened to stop by near the end. We were both ugly crying. She was like, "Are you okay?" What's going on? It was hard to explain. I took my kids to see it during a Ghibli Fest last year, and I could hardly drive home afterwards. We were all sobbing. I watched it years ago with my girlfriend without knowing it was sad. Was going through a period of watching a lot of Ghibli films. I was expecting a happy, inspiring movie. Dear God, so much crying, so sad, so sad. Not a date movie. The Green Mile. Please boss, don't put that thing over my face. Don't put me in the dark. Eyes afraid of the dark. This line destroyed me. This is probably the one for me. On the first viewing as a kid and several times over as an adult. Paul Edgecombe. John, I have to ask you something very important now. John Coffey, I know what you're gonna say. You don't have to say it. Paul Edgecombe. No, I do. I have to say it. John, tell me what you want me to do. You want me to take you out of here? Just let you run away. See how far you could get. John Coffey. Why would you do such a foolish thing? Paul Edgecombe. On the day of my judgment, when I stand before God, and he asks me why did I kill one of his true miracles? What am I going to say? That it was my job? It's my job. John Coffey. You tell God the Father it was a kindness you done. I know you're hurting and worrying. I can feel it on you. But you ought to quit on it now. I want it to be over and done with. I do. I'm tired, boss. Tired of being on the road, lonely as a sparrow in the rain. I'm tired of never having me a buddy to be with, to tell me where we's going to, coming from, or why. Mostly, I'm tired of people being ugly to each other. I'm tired of all the pain I feel in here in the world. Every day, there's too much of it. It's like pieces of glass in my head. All the time. Can you understand? Paul Edgecombe. Yes, John. I think I can. Then you remember that the fucking mouse lived for 60 years. And realize that poor Paul has another 2,000-ish years if he got the same longevity. 2,000 years before he gets to see his wife again. 2,000 years before he gets to apologize to John. Paul Edgecombe, a second Longinus bearing the sin of killing God's son. That is the part that makes me weep, because what else can you do to a man that cannot die? But praise so hard it that he will. It's not that bad and kinda basic. But I broke down during Titanic when the mother was telling her children bedtime stories when she realized she couldn't save them when the ship began flooding. The band too. I always felt like the violinist realized that at that point. His purpose on earth was to bring comfort to others with his music even if no one stopped to listen. And he starts playing, Nearer My God to Thee, and the rest of the band comes back to join. Hi monsieur. Gentlemen, it has been a privilege playing with you tonight. I know that violinist, he said. Shooting that scene was super emotional for the monsieur. I bet. During the filming they actually drowned the musicians because it was cheaper than paying. The monsieur must have been sad to see them all go like that. You overestimate how much musicians get paid. Sad face. That scene and the elderly couple clinging to one another. Sad face. The Iron Giant. One word, Superman. You stay, I go. No following. Little Miss Sunshine. When the brother finds out he is colorblind, I broke into tears. Nah, for me it was the scene when the little girl tells her grandpa she doesn't want to be a loser. 'Cause daddy hates losers. As someone who grew up in a competitive household, where beauty, and my lack of it, was a huge insecurity, full-on ugly crying moment. Wishing I had someone who said the grandpa's speech to me. Ugh, the whole movie is amazing. Ugh, for me it's when the dad finds out he's not getting the job. And his whole family watches it. And then his dad, who constantly gives him a hard time, tries to comfort. Hi monsieur. That got me hard too. But I love that not a single person in this film realizes their dream. Indeed they're devastated, yet you finish happy. Such a great film, monsieur. Schindler's List. The end just keeps on socking you in the gut. When they make him that ring. Oh, I'm done. I could have done more. Crying face. Oskar Schindler is the only member of the Nazi Party to be buried on Mount Zion. That movie and his story are simply amazing. Edit. Oscar asterisk. Up. You think it's going to be a fun, cute movie. Then they hit you with all of that in the first 5 minutes. I was such a mess in the cinema at that. My wife and I had recently given up trying for kids, and she had also had a bunch of health issues. Most of the movie was just too close to home. House of Sand and Fog. Grave of the Fireflies. Our S tier kicks in the dick. I was looking for Grave of the Fireflies. A lot of movies have made me cry, not no other movie made me feel so much. I was so sad, angry, and frustrated with that movie. The best way I've heard it put, and it's very much true for me, is this: it's the best movie I'll never watch again. Homeward Bound. The scene with the old golden never fails to make me feel pain. Go On Without Me. Bawled like a fucking baby. The Rugrats movie. The scene where Chucky watches everyone dance with their mother and he realizes that he's the only one without one. Edit. I realize it was the Rugrats in Paris. Didn't realize there were other movies. I remember watching this movie in class in 5th grade. My mom passed when I was in 2nd grade and I was crying so much they had to take me out of the classroom. Monsieur, I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. Quote. That sure got me back in 2003. Also, You Bow to No One. My friends, You Bow to No One always gets me. Big Fish. Inside Out. It actually made a lot of things click for me, and got me out of a bit of a funk. Pour one out for my homie Bing Bong. I lost it when Riley was crying, especially when she added the "please don't be mad" at the end of her speech. Gattaca. Something about catching this film on a Sunday afternoon wondering what I should do with my life just spoke to me. I've always wondered what others felt about it. I never saved anything for the swim back. Dead Poet Society. I cry every time I watch that movie, and especially when I realize Robin Williams is no longer alive. Wreck-It Ralph. That movie still makes me cry. I have high-functioning autism, and seeing a movie say what you are does not define you who you are really hurt, in a good way. I saw people criticize the movie for seeming to have the message of just do what you're told by society and don't try to change. But I think that misses the point. Ralph is a bad guy. That's what he is. He wrecks things. But he's so much deeper than that. Ralph is a very caring and thoughtful person who genuinely just wants people to like Hi Monsieur. Ralph thinks that being a hero, or normal in the real world equivalent, will make everyone love Hi Monsieur. At the end of the film he realizes that it doesn't matter if he is the bad guy, if people don't like him, because what matters is that someone likes Hi Monsieur. When I get depressed I like to recite his little bad guy affirmation thing. With a slight tweak, I'm different, and that's good. I'll never be normal, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me. I know it's cheesy, but it really helps me feel better. Edit. Holy shit. Thanks for the gold and silver, folks. This blew up while I was asleep. Went from around 80 points to over 2.6 thousand. Thanks you all. Edit 2. So I've been getting a lot of messages from other autistic folks saying this really struck a chord with the Monsieur. I'm glad that I can help people feel better. Pan's Labyrinth. The ending was heartbreaking, but honestly the whole movie was just sad and violent. Highly recommend it though. Good Will Hunting hit a little too close to home. The fight between Will and Skylar gets me every time. What do you want to know? That I don't have 12 brothers, that I am a fucking orphan. I didn't know that. No, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that I used to have cigarettes put out on me when I was a little kid. Her face immediately goes from fighting and irritated to sobbing. I didn't know that this isn't fucking surgery, that the motherfucker stabbed me. You don't want to hear that shit. Don't tell me you want to hear that shit. All those defense mechanisms he puts up when she doesn't take his bullshit. The way her face perfectly captures the emotion of when she learns why he is the way he is. The heartbreak in her sobs. Hell of a scene. Of course it's not your fault too. But that doesn't need explanation. I'd seen the movie when I was younger, but it was only after a few breakups that I felt the depth of this scene. I put the movie on for something easy to watch recently and found myself sobbing when it got to the above. Tilda. You can never have that kind of a relationship in a world where you're always afraid to take the first step, because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road. Hits me right in the goddamn feels, cause I overthink every situation and currently feel emotionally and physically plateaued. Feels like I have no direction or purpose in life currently. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.